Traditionally, the aims of art and science are viewed as being very different, but throughout history, illustration has played a crucial role in conveying scientific knowledge. So please join me, evolutionary biologist and science communicator Dr. Chris Freelance, for this episode of my 5-part series showcasing key examples of where illustration has been key to communicating new knowledge in the natural and medical sciences. To many of us, a Banksia is a common sight. But imagine you just seen a new species of one. How would you share that with people when you can't just mail it around en masse and you don't have a camera? Sir Joseph Banks returned from Captain Cook's first voyage with around 30,000 plant specimens collected by he and Daniel Solander, including 1,300 species new to Western science at the time. While Banks, an accomplished botanist, may have described these species, this knowledge would simply not have reached the broader scientific community or society without the efforts of Sydney Parkinson. Born in Edinburgh around 1745, Parkinson was the apprentice of a wool merchant, but passionate and talented in illustrating natural history subjects. After having some of his works shown in London and subsequently being hired to produce drawings for zoologists and botanists who had noted the scientific accuracy, he came to the attention of Joseph Banks. Joining Banks on the HMS Endeavour voyage in 1768, Parkinson meticulously drew over 600 species and completed over 200 watercolour illustrations before dying of dysentery on the voyage in 1771. From Parkinson's drawings of the specimens, hundreds of watercolour illustrations and copperplate engravings were made in the late 1700s in preparation for printing, and these were left to the British Museum on Banks's own death for publication of his Florilegium, translating as a gathering of flowers. While it wasn't until the 1900s some of these plates were eventually printed, Parkinson's drawings were instrumental in the description of these thousands of plant specimens collected by Banks, so many of which were new species that in total they increased the world flora known to Western science by a quarter. Beyond this knowledge, the accuracy with which Parkinson depicted plants set an important standard for botanical illustrators who work with scientists. And while natural history illustrator Kate Nolan may no longer work for a museum, she assures me many museums and gardens continue to rely on illustrators for depicting specimens, despite the proliferation of digital photography.
So Kew Gardens has manual botanical illustrators who are creating illustrations for their publications all the time. They've got one full-time, in fact she's an Australian, she's been there for decades. She's still producing beautiful works.
So while the tradition of illustration may continue, the medium of today's scientific illustrators looks a little different to in Parkinson's days.
In terms of scientific illustration, probably 90% apparently of the images which are now being created by scientific illustrators are digitally created images. However, they are manually doing them. They're using a stylus on a tablet. So they're still drawing them, but they then manipulate them using software. But most of it, there's still this manual component of it and an actual human operating the stylus. So it's just the medium.
So while engravings of sketches may no longer be the medium, even 300 years on, botanical illustrators in the style of Parkinson continue to hold a place in visually communicating natural science.